If you live in the United States, then this will likely look familiar to you. Multiple lanes of car traffic, wide highway-sized lanes, giant signs, parking lots, and especially lots and lots of driveways, with vehicles changing lanes and entering and exiting those driveways. This is the single most dangerous type of transportation facility in America's entire road network, and it is dangerous for every single type of traveler. As far as government officials in the United States are concerned, there is no special term for a facility like this other than road or highway. But this is far from a normal road or highway, and the traffic safety challenges that this facility presents are qualitatively different. To improve our ability to think and talk creatively about these safety challenges, it's helpful to have a special term that we can use. About 10 years ago, a civil engineer in Minnesota named Chuck Marone observed that because these facilities attempt to provide nearly unlimited direct vehicle access to adjacent properties like a street, as well as high-speed vehicle mobility like a road, the right word for the facility is Stroad, a combination of street and road. Just as the coinage of the new word smog, a combination of smoke and fog, a century ago helped us to more clearly perceive a qualitatively new phenomenon that had not previously existed, Stroad does the same for us. Where do Stroads come from? One way is for a new road to slowly evolve into one without anyone really noticing. A pre-Stroad road might not have much vehicle traffic. Driving is pretty simple and straightforward, perhaps even tranquil. But of course, drivers need gasoline for their cars, and so it seemed to make sense to have a gas station on this road, and perhaps another business that served the needs of drivers. But once those seemingly innocent decisions were made, an access precedent was set. The next person came in and said, "Hey, look at my neighbor. He has a driveway onto this road. Why can't I get one too?" So he got a driveway too, and so did the next person and the next. The change was gradual. Nothing happened overnight, but slowly and with each decision, the character of the road started to change. In addition to the proliferation of driveways, traffic volumes were also now increasing. There was no plan for this. There was no vote. Nobody was really thinking about the longer-term picture. The road just continued to slowly evolve in obedience to some perverse internal logic of its own, with drivers, pedestrians, and everyone else as passive spectators, until it eventually became a qualitatively different thing, not a road any longer, but a Stroad. Probably a majority of Delawareans drive daily on Stroads like this. They are the arteries of the suburbs we built after World War II. But even though it's easy to take roads like this for granted as an inevitable part of our world, we shouldn't, because these roads are deadly. This is a plot of 38,000 crashes in urban and suburban areas in 7 different states. Each of the lines in this chart corresponds to a different type of road cross-section, but irrespective of the cross-section, crashes increase as the number of access points increase. A couple of dozen driveways per mile was associated with about a doubling of the crash rate, and the increase to the crash rate doesn't plateau. Every new driveway continues to increase the per-mile crash rate by 2 to 4% per driveway added in the space of a mile. As bad as Stroads are for drivers, they are even worse for pedestrians. A recent study looked at the deadliest stretches of roads for pedestrians in the United States and found that essentially all of them were Stroads. The single deadliest section of the Stroad in America is US 19 in Port Richey, Florida. US 19 runs north to south down Florida's Gulf Coast and bisects the small community of Port Richey. At its widest, US 19 spans 8 lanes, big box stores and strip malls that sit far away from the road with large parking lots in between. As on Delaware's Stroads, there aren't a lot of pedestrians walking around on US 19, but there are some.
I walk along US 19 about 3 or 4 times a week to and from work. It's a lot cheaper than taking the bus. I was crossing the crosswalk. Someone was turning and just bumped right into me. I had a few bumps, bruises, some cracked ribs.
I have a hearing disability, which causes severe vertigo and issues with balance. So it's not wise to drive. Every single day, I am afraid of either getting bumped or yelled at or honked at or cut off every day.
Both streets and roads are important. Streets are where we often live and come together for community and commerce. And we use roads when we either need to travel between our productive places or we need to move goods to and from wider markets. But Stroads are a mistake. We are trying to get them to function as both a road and a street, but we end up with something that is neither a good road nor a good street, but rather a deadly and malfunctioning hybrid of the two. As we work towards a transportation system where everyone gets home, we have no higher priority than fixing the problem of Delaware's Stroads.